here today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time to join us as we go live across, it looks like to me, 457 different platforms. Woo! We're already at 2 million people in the future on the Rundown with Ramon show, co-hosted with my friends Lainika Johnson, Robert Kennedy III, Lainika E. Johnson, Robert Kennedy III. Glad you all are here today. We have an interesting episode. We're going to talk about six things which Lainika and Robert have no clue what we're going to talk about. I wanted to have some fun with them today, but it's going to be good. They're going to slay it. I know it because that's what we do on this show. So with that, Robert Kennedy, first of all, before we do our commercial, my high-end, highly produced Canva commercial, how are you, Robert? What's going on in your world? How's your family? How are the things?
Life is grand, my friend. Life is good. I don't even know what to say. Life is good. We're just at that season. I think more of the same from last time. Family's home. All the kids from college are home, and we are prepping for that next season for them. So, yeah, that's what's happening, man.
And it is in seasons. I just posted something on socials and all that, or maybe I can't remember. I have a private group of a couple hundred people in my church as well. But I posted, my adult son is with his wife in Japan, and I posted my adult daughter is with her husband. They finished it, but traveling 3 hours to the West Coast, and she's going to deliver a child in a few months. So it's, as you said, in seasons. Lainika, talk to the people. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm super excited about this season in life. So, my daughter is off in Chicago, living her life. She's, becoming a museum curator, art curator. Nice. And my son has just decided that he is going to move to Arizona. So I am going to be a true empty nester in less than 2 weeks. So I'm really excited. And then I'll be traveling the world. I'm off to Portugal pretty soon.
I love it. Enjoy. Are you going to see our mutual friend, the lawyer friend? Are you going to see her?
No, she's actually going to be out of town. I tried to. Yeah.
I got you. Cool. All right. With that, everybody, we'll start the show. Welcome to the Rundown with Ramon, Lainika. Robert, thanks for being here. When we come back, I'll just reintroduce the co-host to you today, and then we're going to start with our 6 topics of the day today, which I've curated from arguably millions of people. And so we'll curate that in about 10 seconds. We'll be right back. Robert, was that bass a slight bit better? There was 1 second, if you've heard that, of imperfection there. That's where I spliced the track and just added it on. But besides that, Robert, was that bass a little better? I think you commented, right? Was that little better?
Yes, I will say that, yes.
Lainika, that wasn't a definitive, that wasn't a good boy, good Ramon. That was like a pause, like he just threw me something because I put him on the spot and asked him, Lainika, did you hear that?
Well, I wrote a note over here, help Ramon. So we'll...
Listen, don't let Lainika pull out that axe. Let's go.
Ayanna, good morning. Glad you're here with us on the Rundown with Ramon. Ayanna called the Musical Web. Y'all check out the Musical Web. You want to learn how to play piano and more. Bella, glad you're here. Bella, thanks for being on the Rundown with Ramon. Nikki Brooks is here as we get ready to start our full segment. Glad you're here, Nikki Brooks. Y'all back again, interrupting my regularly scheduled program. Trying to get these 3 miles in this Florida heat. Go for it. Robert, before we start, talk to the people. Robert, who are you? Who do you serve? Where can we reach you at? Where can we find you at? As we're on this top of the episode of the Rundown with Ramon. Robert, you provide so much value. You are the best communication expert in the world. But please set the stage for the people, who you are and what we can get from you, Robert.
Love it. Thank you for having me, brother. Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. You can find me at robertkennedy3.me. I'm the president of Kinetic Communications, a communications trading firm based here in Laurel, Maryland. We work with small business owners and business leaders, teaching them how to up-level their communication skills so that they can generate more influence and skyrocket their sales. Bam. How about that? Visit me, robertkennedy3.me.
More influence and skyrocket their sales. robertkennedy3.me. Robert, thanks for being here and making our show 1,000%. We skipped 10, 1,000% better. Thank you, Robert Kennedy. Lainika Johnson, talk to the people. Who do you serve? Who do you want to talk to? Who don't you want to talk to? Let us know who you are, Lainika, as we get ready to start the Rundown with Ramon.
Good morning. I am Lainika E. Johnson, CEO and president of Trash Logic and Press Staffing. Press Staffing is where we help people like you, entrepreneurs, get more done in less time and more efficiently. So you can find me on LinkedIn and all the other platforms at Lainika Johnson, L-A-I, there's two I's, Lainika Johnson on all the platforms.
I love it. Lainika, thanks for being here and making our show 1001. You got a little bit better than Robert. 1001% better, Lainika. Appreciate you being here today. And again, this is brought to you by, we have two sponsors, didn't give Lainika and Robert any money, Inspiring Youth on a Mission for Success Summit coming up in January, Youth Leadership Conference, IYMS.world, IYMS.world in Myrtle Beach, North Carolina, produced by my friend, Christina Howard. Her heart is to service young people. So definitely check out that amazing event, Youth Leadership Conference, IYMS.world. And of course, Creative Con by my other friend, Julie Loken, is coming up. Creative Con, create with an 8tivecon.com in Chicago, February 2026. That amazing event is coming up as well. So definitely check that out. And we hope you enjoy there. Let's get into today's episode. Ding, 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 ding. Robert Kennedy and Lainika, y'all can just wave your hand who wants to pick one first. Usually I pick y'all, but I'm going to have full equity and I was going to say equity and disparity, but those are two different things, right? Right, Lainika? So I shouldn't. Yeah, okay. So full equity and equality. So here's the first customer. I've been diving off and on, Robert and Lainika, in Reddit. That's where we're going to take it from Reddit. Ooh, and I found it's pretty good. When I ask questions, again, as we're all playing and figuring out how to get to the next level, I'm in search of you. I've been on this journey, as I've shared with you all the past few years. Economy's been different, but my point is Facebook is good, LinkedIn's good, school's good, but Reddit, I must say, when I post something, what's the best black coffee? You get 30, 40, 10 comments, whatever, substantive, and you can even search on Reddit past questions and imagine 50 people, 70 people, 17 people said, here's how to do your hair. Here's what car to buy. Here's how to have better mindset. So I've just been dabbling in it. I found it's pretty good for things-ish like that. So then I said, oh, Robert, Lainika, two of the smartest people in the world, they just flow. Any question I bring up, some questions I regret bringing up, they answer. So here's the question of the day right on the screen. One bad customer is ruining it for the brunch. Not sure how to handle it. Now, let's take this question bigger. The bottom line here, as I summarize this, you got a bad customer. You got, Lainika's doing her thing. Everybody's happy in this. But Jeffrey stands up. Robert's doing his thing, doing his TED Talk, his master class, with 7 people, and Becky just won't shut up. Or you get the scenario I'm playing with here. You sold, Lainika, $750,000 worth of great product for Press Staffing. 2 people came back and said, no, it wasn't good. We want our money back. We're doing a credit card charge. Y'all get the point I'm making. So Lainika or Robert, whoever hits the button first, just you all tell me who wants to take it first, waiting right in front of the mic screen, in front of the camera there. And let me know who wants to take this first.
I'll go first, but what's the question?
Lainika. Yeah, the question. See, Lainika, I gave the question a whole hour just now. The question, that's a good point. That's a good point. The question is, what do you do when overall things are going well, but you got that one customer who just jacks it up in public? And or you can answer just that one customer who gives a bad review. So you have a business going along, but that one customer, metaphorically, in the contextual, could be 2%, 1%, and they just get in your head, and or answer it. They make a public spectacle. Take it away.
It's really hard not to take it personal. As a person, right? As a human, it's hard not to take it personal. But as a business, you have to learn how to take yourself out of the equation. One of the things that I learned really early on in the waste business, right? Because I have a trash company, is that we service, 10,000 units a day. If one person complains, that is 9,999 people who did not complain. So I have to put things in perspective and say, okay, so this is one person who has this issue. Who knows if it's us? If it's us, we'll fix it. It doesn't take long to fix a problem that somebody perceives that we have. But I can't take it on because there's so many more people who like what we're doing, who love what we're doing, who think that we're doing a phenomenal job. And so like responding, that's always the funniest thing to me is when businesses respond in a snarky way to reviews. I'm just like, oh buddy, no, don't do it. I would much rather just find out who that person is and reach out to them one-on-one and see if we can solve this, because as soon as you respond to defend yourself, you automatically look guilty. So yeah, I think that that's a lesson that I learned. Did I answer your
Don't take
question?
it does. Thank you. Don't take it too personal. And I think to encourage people, when you come across a great restaurant, give reviews. I'm like one of the top reviews in Google for different categories in my town. I'm not sure how they evaluate it, but I give reviews. I give very few negative, but I give reviews. Dentist will get gas station. I don't give reviews, but Robert Kennedy, talk to us. Robert Kennedy, what do you say to
Yeah.
that question, Robert? Please talk to us.
Well, there are two different scenarios here, at least two. You mentioned everybody's having an event and one person gets up and they're making a spectacle. So that's live. I've had something similar happen before, and testimonials are a good thing, right? I look to get feedback, and so I position it this way. Okay, listen, I'm sorry that you're having that experience. Is there anybody else that is having something similar? Because we're open to feedback and we want to make this better. Right. So if somebody else raises their hand and says, okay, yep, this is not great. Okay, cool. We're having an experience that could be improved. But if everybody else is like, nah, this is good, then I simply say to that person, yeah, well, we're doing everything that we can to make this a pleasant experience for everyone. Clearly, this isn't a fit for you at this point. We're glad to refund your investment, and you can take your time and the door's there. Right? So that's one way to handle that. If you are, as Lainika mentioned, responding to an online comment, I don't tend to engage, but I also don't disappear. I may say, you know what, we appreciate your feedback. Thank you for that. We're doing our best to make the experience the best that we can for all of our customers. If you have any further requests or concerns, please connect with us here, or just take it offline, get in the DM, give them a direct email or whatever it is. So I am in agreement with Lainika. I never respond, or I never suggest or recommend responding in a snarky way to any customer, because people will snip that, they'll screenshot that, it'll be taken out of context, it's gonna come back and bite you in the booty later on. So make sure that you can defend, or that you can stand behind every response that you get.
I love that. I love that. And again, Dr. Jeannie, thanks for being a part of our online, the social community here, keeping a clear perspective, Lainika. All happy customers typically stay silent. That's correct. They just want to go about their business, and they got the stuff from Trash Logic and they were happy. They just didn't think about blowing it up with positivity that you served them, and that's it. So
yeah. So I'll add to that. All the happy customers typically stay silent, but they also love it when you give them an opportunity to be vocal. Yeah. And that's why it's important, especially as speakers, as business owners, to collect testimonials, not just wait for people to give it, but to be proactive and say, hey, what was your experience like? Could you share with us how you interacted, or what this experience was like for you? Great. Cool. We'll give you a free ticket or a free whatever to our next thing as you do this testimonial.
No, for sure. And I do that, Robert, as I get off stage and I don't have quite as many testimonials as you, but when I get off stage,
you need to work harder, brother.
I know I do, Robert. As I come off the stage, I'll be like, ma'am, can you hold on and say that again? And I put my cell phone on, and I collect, I call it a little kudos file. And I love this. So yes. And Dr. Jeannie, thank you. Dr. Jeannie affirms that as well, asking questions, inviting feedback, especially when you kind of know who it is, saying, hey, thank you for that. Always, you go high when they go low. For sure. Love it. No problem. Love it. Also, who's that? Dr. Will is saying dream team is here. So thank you, Dr. Will Moreland, for being a part of this experience. Is ready. Appreciate you 1,000%. All right. And let's continue on. And again, thank you all for joining us. For joining us in the online show on Clubhouse. And let me remind everybody watching us on the video, Robert, because everybody doesn't know where we hang out, Robert. But there's Clubhouse, this social audio app launched during COVID, kind of when everybody needed to kind of when everybody was in their homes and quiet and locked in. And so Clubhouse was born, and I think it was the right time. And so there's still a great community there called Breakfast with champions. Nikki likes that. Work harder, brother. All right, Robert, let's go to question 2. Lainika, by the way, is still here. We just got some shifts in programming. She'll be back momentarily when and if she can as well. Just for those like, Ramon, where's Lainika? We want to hear her voice. Don't worry. Calm down, people. You'll hear her voice. She just had to step away for a minute here. So, Robert, here's another question from the Reddit files. This is something I'm sure has never happened to you, Robert. Oh, let me put this on the screen. I'm going to my screen, but I can put it right here in front of me, Robert. Here we go. Bottom line, the question's about clients owing you money. That's the sort of the question, Robert. But, what do you do, Robert, when a client owes you money, whether it's over $100,000, like this person here, they were owed, or whether it's a smaller amount? You did some work for a customer and I, I won't steal your thunder. I'll speak after you, Robert. But, you did some work for a customer. Maybe they paid half and they didn't pay all of it. Maybe they say you didn't fulfill the full obligation. Maybe they weren't happy with it, Robert. Maybe they are really just not a good customer and trying to cheat you out of it, whatever it may be. But what do you say about that, Robert? I'd be curious. Has anything like that happened to you? How did you resolve it? Is it still happening? Can you think, yeah, there's a customer, it's been 7 years now. Clearly you let it go, but they owed us money. So talk about that aspect, Robert, of people owing you money.
Yeah. So I'll be vulnerable here and say I've been on both sides of this.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. Both sides of it.
Yeah. As a business owner, I've been on both sides of this. So on the owing side, I've been in a place where I hired a contractor to do some work for me on a project, and the contractor went through about half of the budget in about 10% of the time. Right.
That's not cool.
Yeah, so we ended up kind of borrowing or doing some different things, and then we didn't have money. We ran out of money, and so we owed the people, the company that we borrowed money from, and we just didn't have the capital to take care of it at that moment. So we were going through, and they were calling, and we just didn't make it happen. At least not initially. It took some time. We got there, but it took longer than the initial agreed upon time. So that's kind of a tough situation. So I share that side of things because when people owe money, or when companies owe money, it's not always about, oh, they're trying to stiff me. Oh, they're being jerks. Oh, they're being, whatever. Stuff happens in life. So there is a certain level of grace that I operate with around that. The other side, when you are owed money, is there's some things that you got to figure out on that side as well. Number one, how much, or how can I get along? Is it possible for me to move forward without this money? I go from there first because it's possible that you may not get it. That's a possibility. The second thing, depending on how much is owed, is how much is it going to cost me to go after this money? If it's $2,000 and I'm gonna have to hire an attorney, and I'm gonna have to hire people or collections firm to do it, then I may not do it. I may just say, okay, sunk cost, charge it off, let's go. If it is $150,000 and we need it, my company, my employees, my contractors need it for survive. I need it for payroll at some point, and I need to recover it within 30, 60 days. Yeah, I'm going to start putting some efforts into that. I'm going to call the customer. I'm going to work out everything. Even if they're like, hey, we intend to pay it back, we just need a little bit extra time, I'm going to consider that. If they're being jerks, they're not taking my calls, if they're not answering, if they're just totally avoiding, I treat that very differently. And
so, the whole of the spirit of Robert comes out we haven't seen before.
Yeah. There's not one clear answer to this. It depends. It depends on how much effort you want to put in. It depends on what capital, what back end, what safety zone you have. It depends on what's happening in the world of the customer, the economy, your team. There's just so many different things with regard to this. There's not one clear-cut answer.
Nah, for sure. There's not all. It does depend on the situation, but I knew y'all could roll with me on any hypothetical situation. Hey, Lainika, the question is, Bob, the summary of the question, Lainika, is what do you do for people who don't pay you, people who owe you money? They haven't paid their money, and there's many different ways. So answer it how you wish, but it could be a big amount, could be a small amount, could be uh, they thought you didn't do good service, so they withheld it. Could be they just didn't have the money. Could be they paid some of it, didn't pay it all. But in the higher sense, Lainika, just what do you do? What do you tell the people? Just, client hasn't paid. They owe you money.
Yeah.
What have you gone through it as well, Lainika? So
I go through it all the time, and I'm going to get my money. So this is the thing. I have a VA completely dedicated to collections. That is all that person does. And to me, it is the lifeblood of my weekly operations because I have team and I have people that I have to pay. So not paying me is really not an option. Now, if there is an issue that you're having, we can solve that issue. But not paying, that's not one of the options that you have. We have an agreement in place, and in that agreement, we have something called ability to cure. Right? So give us the right to cure. We can fix the problem, but you have to tell us there's a problem so that we can fix it. But you will no longer get service if you don't pay. And that's just, the way that it is. And I have clients that, on the press side, it's a lot less money, but on the Trash Logic side, it's a lot of money. The majority of our clients are paying us, close to six figures. So we need that money. Like I'm sending teams out there. I have trucks rolling, we have dump fees. There's lots of things that go along with our service. So I think it's so important to have, dedication around paying. And honestly, I have very few clients who just refuse to pay. I think in the 10 years that I've been in business, maybe 3 or 4 have, just refused to pay where I had to take it, to a legal place. But usually if we call them and say, hey, we haven't received your payment, they'll let us know, okay, well, this month we're having a hard time, and I'll work out a payment plan with them, but you're going to pay me, period.
Yeah. I'll add to this, Ramon. There is a legal term called force majeure, which simply means that if there are unforeseeable circumstances like ridiculous emergencies, i.e. a pandemic that happen, I'm supposed to pay Lainika, a pandemic happens, business shuts down, and I'm like, my funds, everything's just dried up. I just can't. Right. There are contracts that include that where, it makes way for the contract to be, air quotes, breached in
not my
that
contract.
Circumstance. Yeah. No, so not every contract includes it.
Right.
Not every contract includes it. Some do.
Well,
some do.
out.
Yeah. So I'm just bringing that in because there are some circumstances where acts of God, unforeseeable circumstances that companies add those types of things into some of their contracts.
But I think to your point, the reason I said not my contract is because my contract has the opposite. So my contract says acts of God, you still have to pay me. So
me and God coming after you.
Right. You still have to pay me. You still have an agreement. So
but let me throw a few things at you. Then, by the way, BWC, we're going to pause for a bit and get some discussion. If anybody on our BWC side wants to jump in, I'm going to throw fast questions at you, Lainika. But I didn't know it'd be that much.
Well, we have an agreement. So
what you mean?
What part did you not understand?
But Robert signed it. He didn't share it with me. We're partners.
That sounds like an internal problem.
That sounds like a you problem.
Issue. I'm sorry that you're having communication issues. You might need to speak to Robert Kennedy III.
But I said light blue. This is dark blue.
Okay.
You said light blue. Is that in our contract? Is that written?
Well, I mean, in our dialogue, I wanted dark blue. This was light blue or whatever.
Yeah, we're going on what's written. We're going on what's in the contract that was signed by you and your company and agreed to.
Okay, what kind of bat is it, Lainika? Is it a soft rubberized bat, Lainika? Is it metal bat that you carry with you, or is it a wood bat, Lainika? Then I'm gonna ask you, Robert, same question. What kind of bat?
It's right in the middle.
It's wood. I got you. What about you, Robert? What kind do you carry for your client meetings? Is it rubberized like our kids use? Is it metal? Is it wood? Which one do you go with, Robert?
It's metal. It's aluminum. It's
wow.
Yeah. I want it to make a sound. Ting.
I once hit my brother in the head with one of those. Not
I got you. Everybody, my name is Ramon Ray. You can get to know me better at zoneofgenius.com. Zoneofgenius.com. Definitely go there and sign up. Don't miss out on amazing content to help you grow your business, live your best life, stay in your zone of genius. You're looking for one of the best keynote speakers, best MCs in the world. Definitely could find me at RamonRay.com. RamonRay.com. And let me host your next event. Lainika E. Johnson's here. She does all the things focused on helping you get rid of your trash. And I would say better even manage your trash. My words, not hers, but I think as I'm understanding the business after year number 2 or 3, managing your trash better, and definitely looking to offload many things that you're doing in your business, looking for strategy, looking for more, you can definitely connect with Lainika Johnson and her team at pressstaffing.com. Staffing.com. You definitely want to check her out. Follow her, and she's got a lot of other things going on. So, hey, you want to go to a good brunch, you want to see some other things she's doing, just get to know her, and she will evaluate if you may do those things, other things with her. Robert Kennedy, my other friend. Thank you, Robert Kennedy, for being here. I appreciate you so much, Robert. The best communication expert in the world, founder of Kinetic Communication. You can get to know him and the things he's doing. Follow his Monday show at robertkennedy3.me. robertkennedy3.me. Just an amazing, amazing human. Kudos to our online audience. Thanks for being here. Nikki. Nikki, you a great commentator. What part did you not understand? I can see me and Lainika on the phone. Mr. Ray, I heard you all the things you said, but could you just break down what did you not understand? Robert, can you come over here and read it to this man? So thank you all for being here today. We got some amazing comments here in the questions, Trisha. Sometimes you have that person that always shows up. Definitely when we talked about that episode there. Who is speaking here today? The mic is yours.
I definitely have a comment for Lainika.
Please.
With the acts of God, as somebody who's standing here in the, is thundering and raining. And our city, our whole county, multiple county, 2 hurricanes back to back, 100-year type storm. Lived here my whole life, never seen anything like it. People lost homes, businesses, cars, absolutely devastated, still living in trailers, had to leave the state. Like, at what point does your acts of God kind of give a little break? Like, I mean, I know you're being tongue in cheek, but I don't think you are in a way. So I was like, at what point do you give people some, okay, that is an act of God. That is a real true like devastation, or is it just like, hey, well, when you're back on your feet, I need my money?
Yeah.
Like,
right. Well, my clients are not single family homes. They're not individuals. My clients
businesses are devastated here. Restaurants, hotels. I mean, every business is demolished.
But we're a trash company, so we're working harder during a disaster. And we have teams.
They don't have the money because they don't have any business coming in to pay you.
Oh, well, I mean, like I said, we'll take payment. We'll take payments. However, if we are still, and I've never, even during the pandemic, right? We increased our business by 300% because people needed more help. When there's a disaster, people need more help around their trash. So, my teams are working overtime, so we still have to be paid. Unfortunately, we still we still have to be paid if we're still servicing. Now, if the business is demolished and no longer exists, then we'll set up a payment plan. However, we have already paid people for the work that was done. So we still need to.
And I guess I should have clarified. I'm so sorry. If they owe you, because it sounded like you were coming for people who, like you guys were talking about people who still had an outstanding bill. So they couldn't pay last month because the hurricane unexpectedly came. That's what I was just kind of curious. I get if they're actually doing the work.
I want to add to that though, because I find that many people, I'm not saying you, but many people don't see small businesses as individuals like themselves, right? So I have to still pay my mortgage, and I still have to feed my children, and I still have to be able to live as well. So when people are like, well, I just, you should just give me a break, I can't pay. Well, my mortgage payment isn't giving me a break, right? I'm a small business. I still have bills that I have to pay. So, I don't pull that card unless it has gone on for so long. Then I have to have a conversation with that customer and say, I'm a small business, so I've already put forth the funds to take care of you, right? I've paid people to take care of you. Now I need to recoup those funds back because you basically took those funds from me is what's happening at this point. And now I need to recoup those so that I can live. Otherwise, I'm going to be homeless. You don't want to see me homeless, do you?
Well, in my case, I think that would be a good TV show. But anyway, we won't go there. We'll do that next. Robert, it seems to me like
that. I just get defensive about my city. Like I see so much devastation, and it just, not defensive. It's like it tugs at my heartstrings, and it breaks my heart a little bit. And so, whenever I hear situations, I think of what people are going through here right now. So I was just curious, and I appreciate your answer. I mean, it makes sense. I just wanted to do a deeper dive. So thank you for the time. Thank you for the answer and the honesty.
And Robert, it seems like it's a communication issue. Is that correct, Robert? It seems like a communication issue. Bottom line, I mean, life happens, but it seems like what I'm hearing Lainika saying, she's not going to bring the bat out. She sees a building burning down, bring her bat out and run into it and say, "Whoop, you owe me some money." But it's like, great, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Your building burned. How do we solve this? You're going to get insurance money. I saw that in a headline in 3 months from now. Whatever. I'm not speaking for Lainika. She's already spoken up, but I'm hearing her saying, listen, depends. Okay, yeah, we all go into the flood, and now let's work it out. It may have to be 2 years, 1 year, but in this very rare case, I'm going to be paid, but let's figure out how it's done. Robert, is that a communication issue? It seems to me, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. I think most things in life are communications issues for me, especially where business and relationships are concerned. The more that we can communicate, as a matter of fact, the more that we can over communicate, I would say, in most cases, the better chance we have at success. And so, I think one of the words that you just used is important in this scenario as well, and that's insurance, right? So there are insurances that when we talk about acts of God or disasters, that make sure that the companies that are affected by it are, if not made whole, made as close to whole as possible. So as a small business owner on both sides of this, it's good to make sure that you've got your insurance. As I teach small business owners about different things, we talk about your bail team, right? Make sure that you have your banker, your accountant, your insurance, and your legal in place so that you can make sure that you're covered in case of things.
I love that. That's so smart. Anybody else on the BWC side? I got a lot of content. I can always go on, but my biggest joy is to hear from Breakfast with Champions. Anybody else on mic say your name? And if not, we're good. We'll move on.
Oh, I thought he meant in case somebody needed bail, but that
too.
We could get there. Yes, that's exactly what it means in certain terms. Yes.
Anybody else on the BWC side want to jump in? On mic, say your name, and if not, we'll move on.
This is Dr. Eduardo Diaz. How you doing, Ramon?
Hey, I'm amazing. The mic is yours. Jump in.
I was raised a little differently in the way I look at business, and it is essentially you don't go after one customer that could break you. If you got only
and Eduardo, just do me a favor. Just hold the mic a little. I know you're probably driving, but hold the mic closer to your mouth. I want to hear this. Very good. Go ahead.
If you go into business with just the idea that you have to rely on one single customer, you shouldn't be in business. You got to look at multiple customers, servicing multiple people, and understand that sometimes there is a percentage of customers who are not going to pay you. That's just a fact of business. And accepting that and being okay with that is a part of, having faith in God. Sometimes these things just happen. So when you're out there and you're building your business, don't go there knowing that, if one company or one person doesn't pay you, you can't feed your family. No, then you just have a bad business plan. You got to be aware that these things do happen, and it's okay to show compassion and to be there. I've had it happen in my company. I've been on the other side where I haven't been able to pay people, and it's taken me time to recover. I've had 4 businesses, and I've had massive companies that just, I've lost $150,000 in one bill. It didn't kill me because I don't have one customer. I have hundreds. So just keep that in mind when you're building a business.
No, for sure. I echo and agree with that. I think, speaking for the three of us, I think I can. We totally agree. You don't want to have a business with one customer for sure. Kind of business 101. I think even Mike Gerber talks about that E-Myth, legendary book. You as you start off, you may have one being a consultant, whatever, but ideally, definitely having a nice suite of businesses, I think, and a mixture. Some may be paying you more, some paying you less. And I think as for sure, knowing Lainika's heart, knowing Robert's heart, we are building our businesses to generate the wealth we can so we can give back. Definitely, Eduardo, as you're just reading, I'm just summarizing a lot of things here, so we can give back and help those in need for sure. And business sometimes is I wouldn't say cruel, but business can be interesting. I know me and Lainika have a mutual coach, and the theme of he's a nice guy, et cetera, et cetera. What I can tell Lainika, but it's like, okay, it's been 3 months, you can't pay. You will have to exit this community or whatever it may be. God bless you. You can be here. So, but Eduardo, that was amazing. I'll pause. These are good discussions. But let me, Lainika, Robert, cool. Can I move on? See if you do it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, meaning, I always like to check with my co-host before. BWC, anybody to unmic, say your name and jump in before we get into some more surprise, juicy questions for Robert and Lainika. All right. Cool. We'll continue on. Hey, good to see you, Favor. Good to see you, Alicia. Good to see you, Edith. Good to see you, Chima and Maria and Chris and Ishman and Bella. And I think that's G.A., Richard and John. Good to see you here, Brother Julie, of course, Dr. Janie Marilyn, who runs this whole crew, and Tricia. All right, let's move on. Question number 3, maybe Robert, Lainika's Ramon polls from Reddit, and kind of just, it's really not having fun, but it is having fun because that's how I roll. But, I just said, hey, and maybe we may do this more often. I have a lot of topics I can talk about, but Reddit is full of just the common person, Lainika, Robert, Ramon, and millions of others throwing questions and things. So the summary of this, Robert and Lainika, I feel like giving up. Robert, Lainika, I am frustrated. Robert, Lainika, I've been trying this. Robert, I've been trying to get on stage. Lainika, I've been trying to get my first contract. I've been trying. I thought entrepreneurship was for me. My pastor kept telling me my cakes taste beautiful, so I started. Nobody's buying it yet. My auntie keeps saying, yes, those fabrics looks beautiful. You should be a fashion diva, just like, I don't know, Taylor Swift. I don't know, whoever the fashion lady is of the day, or man. You get what I'm getting at, so I'll pause here. But just really the question is, I feel like giving up. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in business. I've been in business for 6 months. I've been in business for a year. Something like that. But it's a struggle. Things are not, I'm not getting where I wanted to be. My savings are almost gone. And I don't know. I don't know. I feel like just going back to my job. It wasn't so great there. I'm in a cubicle, and Marty kept smacking me upside the head, and Becky kept taking the last coffee from the coffee machine. But I feel like giving up, Robert. Robert, what do you tell this person about just giving up? And should they? Is there a room for it? Go ahead, Robert.
Well, you added a little bit, and I'm reading the actual article that you put on the screen. Great. And it's like, I'm thinking of giving up and finding a full-time job. It's been 1.5 months into my gap year, and I haven't launched anything. Here's my response. Yeah, go on ahead and give up. Yeah, you should probably do that, because it's been 1.5 months. Right? You're just coming out of college, and you're trying to self-fund a gap year, and you're finding it difficult for 1.5 months. I mean, I could be motivational and say, yes, go ahead, put your head down, your nose to the grindstone. I don't know your situation. I'm saying, yeah, go ahead and give up, get a full-time job right now, get some foundation, get some money, some coins in your bank account, and then come back at it again later.
But answer
right
the bigger
now,
question, Robert. I do. Yeah, thank you for answering this one, but I want you to answer more so the one who's been there for a year. Answer that. Answer that one. That's what I want to get at. The answer the more seasoned, slightly entrepreneur. Listen,
headline. I could be motivational and say, yes, put your head down and go for it. I don't know your situation. You might have 4 kids and a dog, right? You might have a whole bunch of stuff that you like. Listen, if you blindly go ahead and say, I'm going to put my head down and do it, that could be affected outside of you. So you've got to consider all of those things. We don't make decisions in a vacuum, right? We don't make decisions that only affect us. are there other factors inside of this? If it's just you and you're kind of out, you're a hermit and you're out in an igloo on the plains of whatever. Igloo is not on the plains, but anyway, you get
Plains of Nebraska, igloo in the plains
right.
of Nebraska.
Igloo in the plains of Nebraska. I'm trying to be Ramon like here with my examples. Right. And it's just you and you're like, oh, I'm thinking about giving up. Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? Press on. You might be in a situation where other people are affected, and you deciding to press on affects how they show up or their livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
You got some decisions to make, and it may not be about pressing on. It may be about delaying something for a moment so that you can make sure or increase the likelihood for the survival of those around you, and then you push forward after that.
No, I love that. Lainika, I want to ask you a different twist on this, but feel free to take it where you want it. But in your experience, Lainika, what are some of the levers or some of the questions you would ask as you're starting to help your niece, help Ramon Robert to say, okay, yeah, based on what I can tell in this 30-minute conversation with you, it's time to look for a job or not? Meaning, is the levers like, hey, as Robert said, you need diapers. You've been at this for 3 years. You may say, yeah, get the job you can get today. Or if they're saying, is it, I'm selling the wrong thing to the wrong person, right? Because you've run multiple businesses. Or is it, oh, you just hired the wrong people? Walk us through some questions you may ask to help people know, no, just tweak this. Or, yeah, if you've done all that, just get a job.
Yeah. Well, let me first say I agree with everything that Robert said. But there's so many different things to look at. So I've been in business, I've had Trash Logic for 10 years, but I've been an entrepreneur for over 20, right? So I every day think about getting a job. Every day I'm like, maybe I should just get a job. Maybe I should just get a steady paycheck.
Yes.
However, I know that I will not be able to execute in business if my focus is fractured, if I'm trying to help this company make money and also trying to help myself make money. So I know that I can't do that. However, I will say that some people never were meant to be entrepreneurs and never should have gone down that path because they have an employee mindset and that stability is important to them, which is why, I tell sales reps, especially if your pipeline isn't full, then you are going to be thinking about quitting all the time because you're going to be desperate and people can smell desperation and you're not going to make any money when you feel like that. So if you don't have a lot of irons in the fire, which goes to what somebody said in the last question, if you don't have a lot of irons in the fire, then you are going to feel like maybe I should just give up because you honestly, what it probably comes down to is that you're not doing the important work. You're doing the low hanging fruit. You're doing the things that are easy for you to do, the things you like to do, but the stuff that you need to do to make sure that your business is growing and that you're getting more customers, you're avoiding that work because that's not what you enjoy doing. So if you spend more time in that area, you probably won't want to quit. And I remember my first company that I ever owned was a catering company. And I remember sitting in my car outside of a radio station thinking, I'm just going to go back to corporate. I think I'm just going to go back to corporate. And I said, well, let me, go ahead and take this food in here and drop it off. I was dropping off some free food to a radio station and I dropped it off. By the time I got home, they had left me a message and asked me if I could come and do a segment with them every Friday. And I was like, okay, God, I see you, right? Like that was my, okay, don't give up quite yet, right? There's always something else you can do. And that was the something else that I could do. And I went on, to really just kind of blow that business up that same summer because my mindset changed. I was like, okay, I could do more. I could do more. If I just do more of what I just did, I will probably, grow my business. So it just depends on who you are. Now, if you're a person that really just doesn't want to do that work and you're not willing or you don't have the funds to hire someone to do the things that you're not good at, then maybe you should go get a job.
Yeah.
You know.
I think about this, Ramon. I would say at least 4 times a year, I have a moment where I wanna get another job or get a job, get a full time, a 9 to 5. But it's not for the reason that most people might think. The reason is, my reason is that people who work, maybe not executives, but people who work a 9 to 5 gig get to turn off their brains
Yeah.
after a certain time and focus on something else fully. I don't feel like I can do that, right? I don't get to come home and at 5:30 get to focus on the kids or this. My brain is always, it's always on
Mm-hmm.
with regard to my business. And so I don't have hours. I mean, yeah, I put some boundaries around certain times where I'm in my office or not. But brain wise, I don't have hours, and I'm not able to shut off. I haven't perfected that.
Robert, I was just telling somebody at my church, Robert, the same thing, and I was laughing, but kind of I was in tears, Robert. I feel it's a sickness.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with movies, nothing to do with arguably the AI industry.
Yeah.
I bought a slew of domains. I will just tell you now because I bought them about movie AI picks, movie awards AI, all versions. I'm like, I mean, but my and we know
Yep.
Lainika. She has no idea. She's just walking around life with no ideas in her brain. She just
Out of control. Out of control.
oh boy. By the way, shout out to Jennifer Jasper. God ain't petty, but I am. God ain't petty, but I am. This beautiful shirts from
Oh, I
her.
like that.
Thank
Petty
you.
said
Ready,
go.
set, go.
Go. Remind me of kind of, the flights, we do and traveling around. I know, Lainika, you love travel. I love travel. But again, my name is Ramon Ray. Everybody, get to know me better at zoneofgenius.com. We're going to open up the BWC chat one more time. Discussion if anybody wanted to jump in. But find me at ramonray.com. If you're looking for an amazing keynote speaker, amazing event host, as Robert, in fact, is as well. Keynote speaker, event host, definitely see me there. It's my joy to fly to your event, host it, keynote it. Also, we're building an amazing set of editorial programming, as it were, at zoneofgenius.com. It's not easy. So a lot of the things I'm talking to Robert and Lainika about, I'm going through it. Zone of Genius is a startup, but I encourage you to check out zoneofgenius.com. We have some amazing programming now, amazing programming come up, including our podcast is growing, live events we're looking at producing in the fall and more. So zoneofgenius.com. This will be my fourth company, sixth company, but fourth company I want to exit. I started smallbiztechnology.com, sold it. Smarthustle.com, sold it. Small Business Summit, sold it. And zoneofgenius.com, building it and enjoying the journey. Shifting that wording, Lainika and Robert, a bit. Enjoying the journey as I build it, zoneofgenius.com. Lainika Johnson, as I've said many times as well here. Just glad you're here, Lainika. So appreciate you being here. You add beautiful spice and pop and brains to this discussion. And definitely you're looking to delegate, looking to offload, looking to get some better structure in your business. Loving what Lanika's putting down. If you're not liking what she's putting down, that's fine too. Go to pressstaffing.com.
Yeah, if you don't want to pay, then don't. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, not as long as you got a check and you want to pay. Pressstaffing.com, pressstaffing.com. And or if you have a commercial facility of some sort, you're going to have trash there. So you want to check her out at Trash Logic as well. Robert Kennedy, just so good having you here, Robert. I appreciate you taking the time being here. I appreciate you seeing value being a co-host on the Rundown with Ramon. An amazing communication, amazing expert, amazing human, really helping you make a bigger impact and communicate and speak better in all sorts of ways. So definitely check out what Robert Kennedy is doing, robertkennedy3.me. He has programming. He's got podcasts active on LinkedIn, goes live, all kind of things Robert and his team are doing. So you definitely want to check him out, robertkennedy3.me. I think so. Yeah, I've got some chat beauty.
Mhm.
Yes, please. I heard my name. Who said my name? Did I hear
No,
my name?
Moan, it's Maria.
Hey, Maria. I'm looking out the roof. I'm looking at the ceiling. I'm looking out the window. Who's calling my name? And I realized, hey, Maria, the mic is
I'm right
yours.
there.
Please.
Right in front of you.
Yes,
right
ma'am.
in front of you.
Mic is yours.
Well, let's talk about starting a startup and should I quit? Should I keep going? Should I? Okay, in my case, it's broker retires. I don't really want to go with the flow with where he's parking me and my license. I looked at the environment. It wasn't my kind of thing. I interviewed other brokers, not my kind of thing. The space was either, whatever it was, right? That made me say, let me take my split and make that my overhead in my own company. because I did the numbers and I was like, what am I giving away of my commission to the broker or to the brokerage, um, so that they can expand and grow? And when I did the math, I looked at the numbers on the other side, which is the ownership side. And as KW Kim Walsh Phillips says, it's math, not magic. And I was a math teacher, so if I can't do math, well, watch out. I did the math, and it made sense for me to venture out on my own and build what I already started under another brokerage. I had a team. I had people that already liked working with me and trusted that I would handle our business with integrity. I love when people say, Maria, if you say it, you don't have to explain it. It's fine. Even though I felt like I needed to explain the numbers. So fast forward now to here. The journey's been 14 and a half years.
Mm.
In there has been an ugly, ugly, ugly divorce. There were 3 and 5 year old who are now 20 and 22. There's the ghost of, do I go back to the classroom and work 184 days a year and wait for that pension, which would be coming now this year, would be that pension, full pension, mind you. Well, actually, yes, at the end of the year would have been a full pension retirement. The question has always been, and I don't know if I mentioned there was a foreclosure in there too. The question has always been, do I hang my hat as broker owner of a company, go back to the classroom, and go back to full-time, part-time realtor? You cannot be a part-time realtor. It's a full-time job. So I had 2 full-time jobs. Do I do that? And I cannot tell you how many times I asked myself that question. And I kept saying, all right, let me focus on one thing, build the business, build the business. And then all these hurricanes and tornadoes came at me in the form of life, right? I could have gone back and hung my hat, but there was always this something inside of me. Nope, you have more to do. Nope, you have more to do here. You have more to do here. You have more to do here. Yeah, it would have been easy to go into the classroom, but I thought of that, right? Les Brown says, choose your heart. Would my heart be um, I loved teaching. I'm a great teacher. I'm bringing that into my life today again. I forgot I was a teacher. I'm bringing that role back thanks to TM. I'll throw props to him. Uh, the truth is, though, that Next Level is standing for a reason, right? That's the name of my company. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that out there. Throw that out there, but they're standing for a reason. I have served people and helped them stay in their homes because of the journey that I went on. There is such a struggle. There's a time I couldn't afford to pay attention. I know it sounds funny, but it is the truth. Um, I was negative, and somehow I managed to get through with the grace of God, of course. So, yes, you ask yourself, should I go or should I stay, as the song goes? Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. But you have to look within. What are my struggles? What is the real of it, right? And yeah, financially you'll struggle, but you have to ask yourself, what's my calling? And I think I did my job as a teacher with all those kids that I taught for 13 years. I was there. I was standing there for that season for them while they were standing there for that season for me, because it goes both ways. We all have our own seasons, we have our own journey. So the thing is, yeah, people need to get paid. Trust me, I know. There were times the lights went out, gas went off, but you know what? I chose what to pay and what not to pay when I had any kind of money. I'm not saying go that far, but definitely dig deep and say, am I where I'm supposed to be? Is there more for me to do here? And how do I get to the more so that I can be happy in the now? And that's my journey.
I love it. Maria, thank you for taking the time to share so
Thanks for
eloquently.
sharing that.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
transparently with us. I appreciate it. Lainika, one word Maria said, but if there's other words you want to, pull on, feel free. But you said, "What am I called to do? Is there more?" Kind of what I'm hearing. How can I make an impact? We got about
Yeah.
2 minutes to go. But Lainika, close us out with that, or anything else you want to take it from what you heard
Yeah.
and whatever else is on your heart.
So I'll try to make this as brief as possible because that really hit home. We're almost I feel like had very similar journeys. Because I got divorced 12 years ago. I had small children. I had to figure out what it was that was important and what my why was. And my why was raising these children at the end of the day. So people thought I was crazy for, stepping out and starting Trash Logic when I did, when the kids were still, younger. But I knew that I had something, and I knew that I had to do it if I wanted our lives to change, right? And I knew that I had to sacrifice in the beginning to get us to where we are today. And so, yes, I have so much compassion for people that are going through, but I also have a responsibility to build something that my children, can stand on, that, is solid. And so that was the goal for me. And also, in this stage in my life, other women tell me all the time how inspired they are by the fact that I went through what I went through. And, I tell people all the time, I went a year without paying myself in Trash Logic. And yes, I had lights cut off and I couldn't pay the rent. But I did that so that I could build something that I knew would be sustainable, and so that we could get to where we are today. Sorry. And, I walked out of my marriage with less than $20. I talk about that all the time, to 3 years later having a multi-million-dollar company. And that was a focus that, that was important to me. And everybody has to find their why. My why was my children. So
you inspire me, Lainika, so much, and hence I'm so glad you're here as a co-host on the Rundown with Ramon. Robert, take this where you like, but one thing I know you said about Kinetic Communications is making an impact. Lainika shared about making an impact. Sometimes it's personally with the kids, sometimes it's more. But Robert, close us out with what speaks to you.
So we talk about struggling with wanting to go back to corporate or to 9 to 5 or whatever it is. There's a legend about Spanish conquistador Hernan Cortez, and it said that as they were looking to conquer the Aztec Empire, they left Spain and they got to the shores of the land, and Hernan Cortez gave his men a command. He told them, listen, we're here, burn the boats. Either we're dying here or we're winning and we're going home. And so if you think about that journey, when they left, you could have jumped out of the boat and swam back. Or halfway through, you could have said, hey, you know what, let's turn this thing around and go back. But when you get to the point where you're like, burn the boats, there is no safety plan, there's no plan B, you're just going to make this thing work. I believe as entrepreneurs, as small business owners, when you have that why intact, you reach that place. You might have the doubts, but you burn the boats and you're like, okay, listen, I might have this feeling, but it's just for a moment, and I can't go back. There is no going back at this point. So I'm reinforcing what Lainika is saying. It's so important to find that why, because if you don't, what happens to some people is you get stuck in a place, the boats are burned, and you're like, dang, I don't want to be here. But you really can't go back effectively because too much time has passed by, or the opportunity for growth has passed by. So make sure that you understand that why. And speaking of that why, join us in August 27th and 28th for our Amplify Voice and Video 2-day intensive, so that you can not only figure out your why, but you can figure out how to share that in a signature story with your audience, with your customers, with your prospects, so that, again, you can increase your influence and skyrocket your sales. Let's go.
Robert, how do we find that? Slowly tell me the URL, or what's the best way to do that?
AmplifyVoiceandVideo.com.
AmplifyVoiceandVideo.com. I'm talking to my editor. Hey, Henry, put that up on the screen for me. You have that Come on, Robert, don't laugh at me, man. Amplify Voice. I hope I spelled it right. Everybody, my name is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com. Get to know me better, zoneofgenius.com or ramonray.com. This episode has been co-hosted with Lainika Johnson. What an amazing, this may be the best episode ever. Find her at pressstaffing.com and other platforms. You can just find her, Lainika Johnson, across the platforms. And Robert Kennedy, thank you so much. Also, Robert Kennedy the third Robert Kennedy 3.me, communication expert extraordinaire. Appreciate you, Lainika. Appreciate you, Robert. Thank you all for being a part of the Rundown with Ramon show. And we will hit the end stream button now. And if you loved this show and liked it, as we know many of you did, we shout out to Nikki and so many others who joined us. Please put some comments, share, check out our services and more. With that, have a beautiful day, be blessed, and make an impact.